Hey! Hi! Welcome to the Up Supercast, the only podcast on the internet where from this point forward, we're only talking about Garfield Kart. I'm Will, and joining me this week, Brandon.
No, I'm talking about that weird Game Boy Garfield with the really creepy Garfield that's gonna kill you.
Muzamil.
I'm talking about why do you change the intro? It's different and I don't like it.
And Ills.
I'm just talking about lasagna. Fuck this.
Yes. I mean, here's the thing. Muzamil, listen to our podcast when you're not on it. We did this last week. Already done this bit.
Now I'm exposed because
Yep.
Yeah, well, I mean, you exposed yourself by doing that. That was the test. I was excited to see.
Now you know I don't listen to the podcast when I'm not.
I know.
Wow.
I mean, it was no secret.
He doesn't
care.
listen to the best episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
To be fair, it's also the majority of the episodes.
Yikes.
But you are here, Muzamil.
I am here.
Did not mean to roast you immediately upon return, but that's just how it is. How's everyone else doing this week?
I'm doing good now. I'm thinking about Garfield on the Game Boy and the little horror version that some guy made, and that's something. I wish Game Club.
Game Club. That's whenever you talk about any weird game that you vaguely remember, you should end the sentence with Game Club.
It's true.
Anytime you ask that question, I just let Brandon answer and say nothing. So,
That's fair. Well, it remains a mystery. Fill in with your mind what Ill's week was like. But besides that, of course, video games continue to happen. They refuse to, despite my best efforts. They keep releasing.
God damn it. Try harder.
Until then, we will have to continue to talk about them. So first off, with this week, let's get to a thing we've been playing. A thing that was also news this week because we knew the hero for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was coming in summer.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the summer, baby, and guess what? This Tuesday, he came out. Last Tuesday, when you're hearing this, he came out. And we got a... Sakurai said it would be like a live stream. It was not really like a live stream. It was just sort of him playing for 20 minutes and like explaining the concepts. But then at the end, he was like, hey, download him tonight, which was cool.
I mean, it was a little different. Because it's like, he mentioned, like, I don't have a script this time. No fancy editing. You know, we're just kind of...
Very funny line. He's like, we didn't give us a budget for this one. So we're going to show you what we got.
They just kind of rolled with it. And it was, so the video has already seen over 2 million views, though, which is really funny. Because it's like such a, like, I mean, it's just like, you know, kind of chill video of...
Yeah. I'm sure that there's a lot of game companies that have highly edited CG trailers that get a half that, and they're just like, I'm so mad.
Yeah.
This guy is talking for 20 minutes. But that's what you got to make a Super Smash Brothers to have that kind of cachet.
Sure.
But I thought it was interesting because speaking of that, right? There's oftentimes been discussions online of the Smash bump, and I saw someone earlier today say like, "Hey, Dragon Quest XI," which he made sure to mention this multiple times. Dragon Quest XI-S, Echoes of the Elusive Age Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch coming in September. He said it like 5 times, that full sentence. It rose like. It was like 1,000 spots in the iTunes charts or whatever. There's a Smash bump that is happening right now for that game, which is very funny.
On Amazon, it raised 1,200% since the...
There it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yep. So,
makes you wonder if Atlas is thinking about Persona 5 on Switch and about Joker and Smash and being like...
Well, they missed their opportunity.
Maybe we should have done that, but maybe, you know.
But we got to find out details for him. We've all played at least a little bit as him. And sort of his gimmick is very much, he has an MP meter, and we saw him use a lot of spells in that E3 trailer, and guess what? He has a lot of spells. His sort of biggest thing is he has a command menu where you can bring up with down B, and with it you can get 4 random of a set of like 21 spells or whatever, I forget the exact number. And from it, you can pick, and it uses MP, you replenish MP by both time and by doing damage to people.
And getting hurt.
And getting hurt, yeah. But I think it's really interesting because with Smash, there's always the thing of how do we translate the character's like gameplay into the format of Smash Brothers? right?
Mhm.
And I think this one, like, obviously, just MP is in an RPG, right? Sakurai said Dragon Quest is the granddaddy of JRPGs, so it has a critical hit, right? Because that's a big deal in RPGs, right? Randomly, sometimes you'll get a hit that just does more damage. But like in the way that you play as him, almost all of his moves take some kind of charge if they're a special, right? And they can have different stages, and so there's a lot more with at least for me with Hero, of like standing still and like charging a thing and then planning to use it down the line, right? Be it like his neutral B or his side B or his down B. And so it almost becomes this weird turn-based thing, right? Like there's a lot more stopping and like thinking about your action, which is like a neat approximation of that concept. You know, I mean, you're literally picking from a command menu when you're doing his down B. And I thought that was a really cool way to implement him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like his moves, and I like that you can charge all of them, like you said. Like, I'm not too certain how to use the side B very well yet, but it looks to be insanely powerful. Like, all his moves, like charged up, seem like really powerful.
Yeah. And the thing is, and the idea is that they balance by using a lot of MP, but like, I mean, we've seen some very funny Twitter videos of just like a guy like getting the sleep move on him and then like getting the both of the like buffs and getting a crit and like doing 70% in one smash attack, right? And stuff like that. But those are things that like they're not going to happen consistently, right? Like they're time and place. And I think that's interesting for a Smash character. Some competitive people are like, is too RNG focused. I'm not good enough to care, to be honest with you. So like,
yeah, that's a good thing about not playing competitive is you can enjoy the characters in more ways than just how good is it going to be on the tournament scene.
Yeah, and like
it's
a party. Yeah,
it's a party game.
Yeah. And like I get like if you're competing for money, the idea that like I died because of crit, like that's upsetting, right? But
yeah,
like,
you're just gonna you're gonna shy away from it.
Let's not pretend that Hero is like the first instance of a random element in a fighting game. You know, like I'm not even talking about just Smash. You know,
like Faust exists
right.
in Guilty Gear, right? And like half his moves are randomized.
So like I mean the Smash fan base is acting like this is like unprecedented in the competitive scene. You know.
Wait, what about Game & Watch?
Yeah, I mean even Game & Watch the side B, you know, is like has that element.
Yeah, there's plenty of Smash characters where, you know, they're not meant to be.
No, but what I mean though is it extends even beyond Smash though. You know, like it's like this isn't like some unprecedented thing in fighting games, like a character that is a little bit weirder and more random. You know.
Yeah.
That's yeah, and those games are just fine. So.
It is worth mentioning. I loved this. The dig at clearly at Final Fantasy, where they're like, we could have had 2 songs from just Dragon Quest XI, but that would feel weird, right? For like the franchise. And so we got 8.
The bad thing is these are both Square Enix franchises. You know?
Yeah,
but I guess because like Dragon Quest, like you're dealing directly with Sugiyama for the OST, like dealing with one person versus Square Enix's licensing department. I guess it's just a bit easier.
Yeah,
but
Dragon Quest just has a lot more people that have been a constant through line throughout the entire series, right?
Yeah,
like
because I think Sugiyama like literally has the rights to the music, as far as I know. Yeah, so it's like, so like they would have to like they just deal with him directly rather than hey like let's deal with the Square Enix licensing department, which is notoriously like hey even in our own games, you know, like Eidos I think Montreal or whatever, the people who make Deus Ex. That infamously they tried to put a Final Fantasy poster in their game, and that had to go through like 30 layers of approvals, and then like got approved like right before the game was ready to ship or something, and just like yep, Square Enix.
So fucking senseless. I don't understand.
Yeah, I imagine, like I said, part of it is like, you know, Yuji Horii has been like the director and the writer for every Dragon Quest game. Sugiyama has been the composer. So like I'm sure that like those 2 guys, right? You talk to them. Where with Final Fantasy, like if you want to get like a Final Fantasy 10 song, that's not the same guy that did Final Fantasy 7's music. It's not the same guy that did, you know, Final Fantasy 6 music. It's not even
like just being the same guy. It's just who owns the rights, right?
Yes.
It's just like, like.
But I think a Hero is cool. As a longtime fan of Dragon Quest at this point, I'm very happy to have him and for him to be as cool as he is. I
really love the costume changes. I wish there were more obvious, but you know, whatever. It's all good. It's still really cool.
It is funny also because you can like see Toriyama's artwork change. Like you look at Dragon Quest III guy, and it's very much like there's an arc to it. I think that's very funny. Because it's the same guy that's been drawing, but over 20 years, obviously your style changes. Dragon Ball also illustrates that. But anyways, that is Hero. I'm sure we'll have we'll play him plenty more, and we'll see goofy stuff. He's not going to be at EVO, which has already happened when you're listening to this, obviously. Because EVO always has a cutoff point of like, if the patch isn't out by this day, we're not going to use it because we want to let players train up in that patch, like...
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess
scared.
that makes sense.
They're scared.
Well, it would be...
I mean,
Hero
like,
getting added... and
releasing literally, 7 days before EVO? If that, not even, 5
Not
days.
even, 5 days, yeah.
I mean, just let it happen.
Just let
it wash over you.
It's funny, because, for Dota and for League, right? They plan their patches around when tournaments are happening. Capcom does the same. But Nintendo's sort of we'll do it. They've done it the week before a major tournament for every, Piranha Plant, Joker, and now Hero.
It almost makes you think it's intentional.
Almost.
they're fucking with them. They're just baiting them. They're waiting.
Just,
he's cackling in the background. He knows.
When's the next tournament after EVO, though? We can figure out when Banjo's coming out.
That's true. Super Smash Con is 2 weeks after this, so that'll be the first tournament where Hero will be
Well, I don't think we're getting him that soon.
Coming soon.
No, we're not. Yeah,
Dang,
no. I'm
wow,
just saying,
Banjo is so soon, huh? Wow.
If we're gonna get any Hero hijinks of in grand finals, a crit kills at 2%, that'll be where to look for it.
To be fair, I'm thinking Banjo in October because they have till the end of February to get them all out, and there's 2 more, so he can't wait that long for Banjo.
October's the latest.
Is it 2 more or 3 more?
September, honestly.
2 more.
Well,
3 more with Banjo.
Because September.
3 more with Banjo, so 2 after Banjo. So if you do October, that's about 2 months apart.
Wait, who did we get?
We got Joker. We have
and...
Hero now, and then Banjo, and then 2 others. That's the 5.
Yeah.
Piranha Plant doesn't count as part of the pack.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So September, October, December, February. That seems like a cadence that makes sense.
Yeah. Which is interesting, is then I guess September Direct is where we'll get the announcement for number 4, probably, right?
Probably. Yeah, that sounds right.
But either
Unless, Evo.
They're getting wild. Speaking of Evo, we'll mention this very briefly because this will already be officially announced, but I want to have the guy who cannot catch a break, Yoshinori Ono, the director for Street Fighter V and the head of Street Fighter in general, right? Street Fighter V has had, I think, 4 seasons now of characters. No, from the announcement of the game that got leaked the day before that it was going to be at PSX, it was going to be exclusive to the PlayStation 4. From that point onwards, almost nothing has gone unleaked for this game. And that streak has continued because we didn't think there was going to be a season 4 for Street Fighter V. There was Kage, who is a evil Ryu, right? But then nothing for the last 7 months in terms of new characters. It's been silent. So everyone sort of thought, they're just moving on to Street Fighter 6. What was going to happen, and what is now out, when you listen to this, is that they were going to, at EVO, shadow drop E Honda, Poison, and I forget the last person's name. Lucia. 3 characters all in one day. And it was going to be a big deal, and then Steam uploaded all this stuff to buy them 2 days beforehand.
Oh, no.
I feel bad for Ono. And especially this one was going to be so hyped because it's because Street Fighter, up until this point, Street Fighter V, has released 1 character at a time, And like Will said, they had been so silent since Kage, and which is when Season 4 would have normally dropped. 8 months ago now? So people kind of thought, okay, Street Fighter V is kind of slowing down, doesn't seem like they're doing much with it. And then to have this big surprise of, there's 3 more characters, and they're dropping today, that would have been really cool. I think that would have been really cool for Street Fighter, but now it's that's ruined. It's just gone. That's I feel bad for Ono. I'm still cool announcement, still excited, but man,
It was very funny. Ono just went on Twitter and just went like, "I'm so like." He just did a bunch of exclamation marks, but Mr. Wiz, the guy who does Evo, just said, "I'm so fucking mad right now." Like that was just his entire tweet.
Well, then Ono said, some years were shaved off my life yesterday.
The guy.
But I'm happy. But I'm happy that the response has been so good.
Yeah, which is nice, but like it's the fact that it keeps happening is what makes me laugh so much.
They work, yeah, but it doesn't feel bad because they work hard on these reveals, you know.
Sure, yeah. Also funny because, like we said, this is the most Evo's ever got for Street Fighter, and it wasn't the main event this year. So the people that say that they're getting paid off for announcements, this apparently it's a case against it. But besides that, I want to do one more piece of little Nintendo related news. Which ties into a game that is out already. We've been playing it some. Fire Emblem Three Houses, right?
Some is an understatement.
Some is an overstatement.
We have the full range here. But largely, I think all of us like it as of now, right?
I fucking adore this game. It's
like I really like the tutorial stage.
Yeah, well, at least we got that. So we found out about a week beforehand, right, that Koei Tecmo worked on this game. And we're like, oh, that's interesting. And a bunch of people before the game came out was like, uh-oh, does this mean the game's going to be bad? Right? Like, I don't know.
We knew Koei Tecmo was had been working on it since the February Direct.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
But it got started getting circulated about a week beforehand, I would say, right? Like, I saw people talking about it. We did not know how much they had been working on it until this week, which it turns out Intelligence Systems, traditionally the people that make Fire Emblem, had 12 people working full-time on Fire Emblem Three Houses. The rest of the staff was filled out by Koei Tecmo, the team that traditionally works on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms games. So they have a lot of strategy experience, but largely them, right? And sort of they spoke in interviews, the Intelligence System guys said extremely highly of them, right? Sort of like we would go and we would look at sort of getting something done in a time frame and they would do it in half the time. And so we sort of got to keep making the game bigger and bigger as we went because we kept being more and more ahead of schedule. Which is funny because the game ended up getting delayed a couple months, right? But like, I think it's interesting that sort of there was sort of the implication that originally the Three Houses like were going to have way more overlap than they ended up having in the actual game itself because of this team. But I think it's also interesting because it points out something that I think is undercovered a lot, which is that this is not uncommon for Japanese development. It's way more common than you probably think it is, right?
Well, it's interesting because yes and no. Because Japanese companies subcontract a lot, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. But it is interesting because Nintendo EPD's done this, but Intelligent Systems never done this. Just this idea of like, okay, we develop the concepts, we kind of the story, you know, the music, the game, the general gameplay design, but then like it's all the rest is done by Koei Tecmo, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy, you know, especially for their biggest franchise, like without a doubt.
Sure.
You know.
But what I think is interesting is because people, I think I mostly want to talk about it because I see people panic a lot whenever it happens, right?
Yeah.
If you remember in Smash 4 when it was announced that Bandai Namco was working with Sakurai, right? I know a lot of people were like, "Uh-oh, you know, is this gonna have, you know, just a bunch of like stuff, right? Are we gonna get 55 Bandai Namco characters in this game because they're working with him, right? A bunch of other stuff. Like, is this team gonna stick around because they are another company, right? But like, Smash 4 came out, it was good, right? And then they stuck around for Ultimate. And Sakurai said the reason that everyone is here is because I had this team of people that had worked on a previous game. That's the first time it's ever happened for Smash Brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that is interesting, right? That like when you go, if next time you look at a video game credit sequence, especially a Japanese one, you'll see a company name that's like 50 people, you know? Like a lot of times these companies are only listed under like 2 or 3 names when it can be a lot, you know?
Yeah.
And there are sometimes companies that specifically are requested to not be listed because like Nintendo has concerns that people will think, hey, we're not making this game, right? And so people will think, oh, this game won't be good then. When like no, like sort of like you said, Moose, the creative decisions are all Nintendo. The grunt work is these other companies. And I think that's an interesting part of game development that gets under talked about. And so it happening this week made me want to mention it here, basically.
I think the Fire Emblem Three Houses situation is very interesting though, because it's like I mean, kudos to Koei Tecmo, because this is like almost entirely Intelligent Systems like developed the general concept and all that stuff I said, right? And and like we're the directors on this game, but like I mean, like the 3 scenario writers for this game were all Koei Tecmo, you know, and sure. the scenario the writing is one of the best part of this game, you know, yeah. And like I mean in general, I mean they did just this is very much also. I think this is an anomaly in which like this is also very much Koei Tecmo's game as well. You know, like it's not really fair to say, oh, they just did the grunt work. You know, like they did a lot for this game. I think that's fascinating because Koei Tecmo, you know,
but also not to twist the knife, but I do think it's funny that a bunch of people were like, see, Intelligent Systems gets HD development and making a console game, and then we found out that like they had the lowest number of people working on this Fire Emblem game. Yeah,
that makes me very interested in what else Intelligent Systems is doing, because I mean Intelligent Systems is big. It's like 180 people.
They have like as many people as like all of internal Nintendo, right? Like we're pretty close to it. Like,
so it's like Intelligent Systems must be working on a couple other games, you know?
Paper Mario, baby. Fingers crossed.
Don't fucking get my hopes up. Okay.
I mean, smaller scale, but WarioWare, you know, they just
also
made one
true.
Recently. So I'm, you know what? Maybe Pushmo's coming back.
Hey!
Fuck Pushmo. Give me fucking Mario. Paper Mario, you bitch.
Why not all 3 though? That's
a good question.
Yeah, I mean, Intelligent Systems. I think it's clear that like Intelligent Systems very much wanted to stay like a multi-game studio and not just become the Fire Emblem studio, which in HD development they kind of would have had to, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's a goal for the studio.
Yeah. Last week, excuse me, we talked about MPD, right, for the month of June. I don't want to talk about that. Though, but we did get, these are things I love. I love sometimes Matt Piscatella, he works for the MPD group. He'll just tell you all time for something, right? Here's the top 10 all time PS1 games, right? This week we got a genre, top 10 all time survival horror games, right? Which is basically just all horror games that's being lumped in this. I wanted to play a little game. I want Moose to go last. What do you think is the number 1 best-selling horror game of all time?
So you're already saying that this encompasses more than just survival horror?
Yes. Anything that is horror, I think is lumped in here. Like Silent Hill, people say it's not survival horror. I think it is lumped in here.
Okay. So you're telling me Silent Hill is on the list?
Am I?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, so keep in mind this is since about 1995-ish. I don't know the exact year, but somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But I don't think anything from 1995 would be on here.
Yeah, I guess there wasn't any much horror before PS1, huh?
Yeah.
Not really.
No.
Not really.
The horror was the graphics.
LJN games, those were horror.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna go with Resident Evil 6.
The fuck?
It is on the top 10, but it's not number 1.
Okay, I just me saying that is like that would piss off like hardcore Resident Evil fans, you know, and which would be very funny to me if it was number 1. So
yeah. What do you think, Alex?
But it's on the top 10.
Oh, that's my turn.
Cool.
Yeah,
my pick is Night Trap.
Good guess.
Fucking tell me it's not.
You say Night Trap?
Yeah.
Not exactly.
I wish.
It's number 11, I'm pretty sure.
Wow, holy shit.
I don't know if that's a lie. That's a lie. Moose, do you have a guess at what's number 1?
Resident Evil 5.
You are right. It is Resident Evil 5.
Well, that would still piss off Resident Evil fans. So
yeah, it would because
I was in the right direction. I guess I was going to a little bit more piss them off.
Yeah. Fun fact: RE5. Sorry.
7 of the top 10 Resident Evil games. Right.
Wow.
No big surprise.
Can you guess the 3 that are not?
Well, fun fact about RE5 though, real quick.
Okay. Best-selling
Capcom game. Technically, still Monster. I think Monster Hunter World maybe just passed, but because it was split between like Gold Edition, like
Oh god.
that's why World is still is technically number one, because individual SKUs. But I think the RE5 versions combined are the best selling Capcom game ever.
Mhm.
Well, to Resident Evil 5's credit, and Resident Evil fans, back the fuck off. Yeah, it was a really good game.
It's fun. Yeah, it's
pretty
fun.
good.
Yeah, like not what you wanted maybe, but like a good game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like me and Noah used to speedrun that game, and like I've never been one for speedrunning. We cracked the top 100 on that leaderboard.
Heyo.
oh.
Yeah, we beat it in just under an hour.
How about that?
What the fuck?
Yeah,
What a pro.
yeah, dude, we were nuts, dude. We would just run past anything that we didn't have to fight. We would not.
Yeah.
It was fun, honestly.
Can you guess the 3 games that are not named Resident Evil?
Okay.
Silent
Amnesia.
Hill.
No Silent Hill on here. That was a slight trick.
Okay, no Amnesia.
So Amnesia would be harder because it's
Because
it's a
Alan
10,
Wake.
15, $20 game.
Yeah.
So like
Alan
60.
Wake
Keep in mind that $60 games have a lot.
have an
higher
advantage.
chance.
Yeah, you have to sell 3 times as much if you're a $20 game.
No
Oh,
way.
okay. So we talking full price game.
These are all full price games.
Okay,
can
does
I ask-
Bloodborne count?
No.
No,
Okay.
But it wouldn't be on this list.
it wouldn't be on
anyway,
here
I don't think.
anyways. Yeah.
All right. How about Until
question.
Dawn?
No.
How many current gen games are on this list?
All 3 of them. No, 2 of the 3. No. Let me look here.
What the fuck?
Jesus.
Okay.
All 3 of them were released last gen. 2 of them got re-releases this gen. That's what was confusing me.
The
Okay,
Last of
releases.
Us.
Re-releases.
Fuck you.
I
Yeah,
don't feel like Last of Us doesn't count then in this genre.
I don't
my
think it
guess
did.
is-
Yeah,
I don't think they
probably
counted
not.
Last of Us, which is
Probably
weird.
I was gonna say Little Nightmares, but I guess
No.
it's not.
No.
Dying Light.
Dying Light is number 3.
Okay.
That's-
Wait, Dying Light was what? That wasn't from last year.
Dying Light Definitive Edition. That gets lumped in with this, by the way.
That's okay, but Dying Light was not last.
Wasn't it
gen.
on the 360?
It was on the
Yeah,
360.
no, it wasn't.
Wasn't it?
No,
I'm gonna Google real quick. Let's
Okay,
find
either
out.
way, it's fine. Dying Light's number 3. You eventually guessed
Okay.
it.
Okay, so it's right behind 2 Resident Evil games then.
How about
Is the sec- wait,
no? Because this is a
is-
cheap game. I was gonna say Outlast, but that's not a $60 game.
No.
Okay.
So what's the second Resident Evil game?
wait.
Resident Evil 4, right?
I got
Resident
you.
Evil 4. Yeah. Top 3 is Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 4, and then
Okay.
Dying Light.
What about Darkest Dungeon? Does that count?
Last gen and this gen. Evil Within.
Evil Within is correct.
2
That-
or
that
1?
is- that
no,
is
no,
number
you said
9.
re-release, so then 1. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
And 2 sold
Uh,
worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I got one.
Uh-huh.
Alien Isolation.
No.
Oh,
Good
that's
guess.
actually a good guess.
Alien Colonial Marine. No, I'm just kidding.
Brandon, I know you like this series, I think.
Horror in a different way.
Brandon likes this series?
I think it is an EA game.
Dead Space.
Dead Space 2.
3?
Dead Space
Okay,
2.
okay, 2.
Dead Space, dude. I don't like Dead Space. I fucking love Dead Space.
Yeah.
Well, I loved it until 3.
All right.
Wait,
Nope.
is Dead Space 2 on current gen? No, it's not.
No,
That's
the
what
one
6
that's
is.
not.
Okay, yeah. Alright.
Man,
Man, EA, you got a treasure trove of IPs.
why
You're
not
doing anything
put
with
the
it.
Dead
Just
Space
fuck-
trilogy on there?
Yeah,
It's fine.
right? Like, why not? You know,
Or
it's
just
free
1
money.
and 2 and skip 3.
Well, yeah. So I'll give you the order of Resident. I'll just give you the full top 10 now.
Okay.
Resident Evil 5 is number 1. Resident Evil 4, number 2. Number 3, Dying Light. Number 4, Resident Evil 2. Number 5, Resident Evil 7. Number 6, Resident Evil 6. Number 7, Resident Evil 2 2019. Then Dead Space at number 8. Evil Within number 9. The original Resident Evil's number 10.
RE2, the original, is that high?
Yeah. And if you lump in
I
RE2 and Remake, it's number 1.
That makes sense, yeah. Because I mean,
Wow. I mean,
But, like-
Resident Evil 2 though was on PS1. It was on N64. It was on.
But I don't think the
GameCube.
64 version counts though, does it? Because was that called RE2
All
or
versions
was
are
it like
combined.
RE64?
Yeah.
No,
It was
but
called
was
Resident
it
Evil 2.
called RE2 on the N64?
Yeah.
I think it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was.
Okay,
Yeah.
then that should count. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
PS1
It
and
was-
64. What the fuck else was it on though?
I'm pretty sure Dreamcast. I
yeah,
could
but
be wrong.
that amounted to what, like 10
Okay,
copies?
but still.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's, you know, maybe it pushed it up a spot.
maybe a couple 100,000. We had the GameCube re-release.
It was on the GameCube.
It was on the GameCube. Yep.
Really? I
It was
had
also
no
on
idea.
that Tiger thing. What the fuck was that? The Tiger.com.
I don't. Do they? I wonder if they count that. I don't know.
Yeah, if you don't believe me, look this shit up because the fact that Resident Evil 2 is on that thing, you would shit your pants.
That's very good.
But like it hasn't been re-released in the last like 10 years, 15 years.
Right. It's impressive that it's as high as it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And good on Resident Evil 7 for passing 6, by the way, because when it first launched, it was way under where 6's initial month was, but it's legged it out in a pretty cool way.
Yeah,
and they said that game was a disappointment in sales. Come on, Capcom.
Yeah. I mean, that's all budget management, which Capcom is infamously bad at.
I mean, RE7 is interesting because first RE7 like directly got fucked by coming right after RE6 because it was like no one really had faith in the franchise, you know. Mm-hmm. But I think because people started talking about how good it is and this and that, it's like slowly like it's every month it sells a little bit more and like now it's cool that it passed RE6 now, you know.
That's cool. It's a solid fucking game and it deserves it.
Yeah, and it's funny that RE6 is as high as it is though, because like
I mean, well, 4, 5, and 6, you know, like. I mean, 4 and 5 like are 1 and 2, right? Like,
clearly, I mean, 4 and 5.
There was a breakthrough with 4 and 5.
They elevated the franchise big time, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but that
6 really is kind of like 3, huh?
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird and not really as good as the ones before it.
Yeah.
Well, look forward to RE9.
Top 10.
Look forward to RE9.
Make it.
Yeah, Resident Evil 9 is gonna suck.
Oh no, the multiples. That's the problem.
At least 8's gonna be great. I think go on.
I don't know about great, but you know, pretty good.
We'll see. But what was I gonna say? Oh, that was neat. I love that stuff. And one other little sales thing while we're on it. This is I think interesting for 2 different points. One, PlayStation 4 passed 100 million units. Right? They shipped a lot this quarter, so they did it. And fastest console to ever hit 100 million units. So,
yeah, I mean that's crazy.
Nice.
I mean, it just like shows like just how fucking successful the PS4 has been, you know? Like,
it does.
Truly, like, I mean, what a turnaround, too. Because, like, you say, oh, PS3 ended up at whatever, they did good at the end. But it's like, we can say PS3 is a failure, right?
Sure. In terms of PlayStations?
In terms of,
yeah, I mean, just in terms of the money it lost Sony, and, like, the market share they lost, and all this, you know? But then, like, the PlayStation 4 comes out, and it's just, what an insane turnaround, you know?
Yeah.
Like, to go back to, like, being... I mean, just the dominant market leader.
They'll probably end up passing PS1, right?
It's to the point where
be close.
PlayStation. This is the first time the PlayStation division is like Sony's most profitable division. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Happy.
Like the PS4, like kudos to them. You know, like they've done a great job this generation.
Certainly turned it around. Like they really did. And you know what else? It makes me have like. Amazing job to Sony. You know what else it makes me happy about? The fact that people are out there saying consoles are dying.
Yeah,
and consoles are dying. Yet we just had a console sell the most in the shortest amount of time.
You know,
I mean, it'll probably end up being second in terms of consoles for all time. Like it might be close between it and PS1, but it's probably gonna pass the Wii. I think it's like 9 million away.
It's gonna pass the Wii. No, it didn't already pass the Wii. I think it.
I thought no. Either way.
Yeah, Wii is like 102 million or some shit like that. I'm pretty sure. So it's like it's literally gonna pass it like next quarter, and then like it's like at that point like you're just gonna have to pass the PS1, and then like maybe the Game Boy. You're not gonna pass the DS probably, but
no, I'm saying like consoles, right? Like not like handhelds.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, just like it'll be PS2.
But even still, but even when you include handhelds, it's gonna be in the top 5. That's crazy. That's I mean, so like you know, so cool.
The PS2 is definitely higher than the PS1, right?
It's number 1.
PS2 is number 1 with a bullet. I guess not with a bullet because DS is right behind.
DS, if they had shipped 200,000 more DSs, it would have passed it. But
I literally like if Nintendo had manufactured the DS for 2 more weeks. it would be number 1.
Which is very funny.
Where did the 3DS end up?
It was like 80 million?
3DS is almost at 80 million. Yeah,
which is still pretty good.
Yeah,
it's after the DS, I guess you could look at it as kind of like
I mean, it's Nintendo's worst selling handheld, but then also it's better than any of Nintendo's home consoles not named the Wii. So I mean, like, kind of puts that into perspective of man, Nintendo handhelds do really good.
And they really stumbled out of the block with that one. So
that's a big
fucking for sure.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that was interesting in Sony's little pieces of information they give out, This is the first time ever for a console for the quarter that a majority, 53% of games were bought digitally. This is the first time that a majority of games have been bought not at a store.
I actually didn't notice that. Whoa.
Fuck stores.
Yeah, digital is like, I mean, like the AAA games nowadays have like 60, 70%, you know? I think Anthem was like 85% or something, like something ridiculous.
And it's more than, and that percentage is more than triples since the start of this PS4.
Yeah. I mean, because like at the beginning of the generation, it was like 10, 15%, I think.
I think it was like 13,
Yeah.
They're slowly getting there. They're getting better at not only marketing it, but making it a fair price for digital games.
Yeah, like there's PSN has constant sales, you know.
Yeah.
And I think nowadays, like, because like games constantly being updated, you kind of want to like, you know, I want to check out this game that just got updated, or I want to check out that game, and like, you know, not having to swap out the disc, I think kind of helps. Or just this idea of, oh, okay, I know I'm not gonna sell it, so like, meh, you know.
Yeah.
You're right.
Which I mean, at the same time, GameStop is like, GameStop, excuse me, is. Who knows if they're gonna last the year? Like it's every week. It's like
will they make it to next gen launch? Like I think there's a genuine question of like, will they?
Right.
Like literally today they fired a bunch of managers and like upper people.
Sucks that people are losing their jobs, but like fuck GameStop at the same time. But like they're slowly just becoming a merchandise sales store. Like you go in there now, and it's
all Funko Pops. Like the entire goddamn store is Funko Pops.
Yeah, it's just geeky like merchandise. Like and there's like less and less video games.
Yeah. And so I think that they actively said that to their investors. They said that's part of our strategy going forward is that we want to diversify into like a general like geek hobby store. But it's also funny because like I didn't mean to focus on this, but like they also said one of their things is they're gonna start like hosting local tournaments at like their GameStops and stuff.
That is such a stupid thing because have you been into a GameStop? Those are like like 3 square feet.
With what space?
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
It's like. Because you cannot become a hub for that with such a tiny little stores that they have. You know?
I mean, I've seen some decent, pretty good sized GameStops before, but also I've seen ones that are like it's just like shoulder to shoulder. You can't even fucking move in there.
Yeah.
I feel like you need to be the size of like a McDonald's to be what they want. You know?
Well, the funny thing though is that it feels like they're almost taking from like mom and pop game stores, right? Like they're very much
a lot.
Yeah, like they're trying to like take on the thing of like, hey, like you know me, and so you're gonna come because you like me, not because like it's convenient, you know?
Yeah.
Well, joke's on them. I don't like anyone.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's a little too late. I think.
And like mom and pop shops have like like they'll host tournaments. They focus on like retro stuff, which is why GameStop really got into retro stuff lately.
Yeah,
right.
Like, it's just like the brand is kind of toxic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's got a bad name for itself now.
And then just B, it's like, I just have less and less, and like the ideas they have don't fit like the stores, like, cause I saw like these concepts of like how they want to be like the Apple Store where there's no register and it's like this and that. It's like, how are you gonna do that with like a little closet, you know,
and with less money than you've ever had, you know? Like,
yeah,
we'll see
weird.
how that goes.
I think they should focus more on the retro stuff and try to, just maintain the focus on getting old games that you can't find anywhere else.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think the first time I ever went into a GameStop, and I'm going to show my age here, but this was back before they were everywhere. And the first time I ever went in one was back on the GameCube days. And I went in there and was just amazed because they had NES, they had Super NES, they had N64. Like, and this was at GameCube. So, it goes back a few generations. And like, I was pumped. I was like, dude, this is like a chain store, but like they're selling like NES games. Like this is super exciting. And they obviously slowly phased out of that and only really started carrying modern stuff. And I slowly started losing interest. Like, to have a store that sells retro games, even now, like there's a lot of them out there that are doing really, really good.
Mm-hmm. I wonder, because I think the retro thing is like a smart move, but I wonder if like what'll ultimately end up happening is like the people that can support like individual stores, but I don't know if it can support GameStop as a large corporation.
That's what I was gonna say. Was like you could turn into this collector's dream store, right? Like sure, But like that doesn't support the 5,000 stores that they have nationwide.
Yeah,
You know,
but this
Yeah,
sometimes happens
definitely
with
not.
franchise places,
Yeah.
right? Like eventually
Yeah.
you buy the right to your store basically from the larger company when they shut down, and you just run individually, right?
Yeah.
See,
So-
my fear more is that they're just going to shut down a lot of stores.
Yes.
You know? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is kind of inevitable. And like, I'm sad that like a lot of people are going to definitely lose their jobs because of this. But
Yeah.
Because I mean, like you said, there's because like the idea of like I get to work at a job where I sell video games is like a lot of people's like, oh, this sounds like a dream, and then like you end up working there for 10 years, and like you're very much invested in
10
that.
years.
No, there are people that work there that becomes like managers and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
you walk
I've known
out,
people like that.
and you walk out, and you're sort of like, well, like I invested a decade of my life into this thing and working up this type of this company basically, and then like what do I do now? So who knows? But anyways, congrats to the PS4 for selling 100 million, I guess. Yeah. So the next thing on the docket, I want to mention this because I think sometimes you feel like you've been done dirty. You got betrayed, right? And a couple
Every week
day.
when we talk about the list, I feel like that.
was also true.
Every day I wake up.
But in this specific instance, like 2 months ago, right? I took a little bit to be like, hey man, you know what's really cool about the Crash like racing remake, right? Like they have all the original stuff, but they're bringing in all this stuff from the new, from like the later games, and it's really neat, right? But we got the game, back in May, I think, June. Yeah, it was on the June NPD. What was I saying? June, and there was a thing where when you finish a race, you saw, oh, you've got 40 Wumpa coins. And I said, what is a Wumpa coin? This was not in the video game that I played originally. And then I went into the store. There was a store. And I was like, oh, okay. And it is almost exactly the Fortnite layout, right? Where there's a little timer up top, and you have a bunch of things you could buy, but they're going to go away in like 12 hours or whatever, right?
Oh.
And you use the currency you get from winning races to unlock stuff. And everyone looked at that and said, clearly this was designed with microtransactions in mind, but there's no microtransactions.
Yeah.
And this is
so you cannot buy them. You cannot buy the Wampa coins.
Well, until we heard this week.
Season 2.
In season
with microtransactions.
You can
What you always wanted.
What you always wanted. So this is a thing that there's two parts to this, right? One, this is an Activision classic. They love to do this. With Call of Duty, the last 2 years, they put out Call of Duty. A month later, they added microtransactions in just like a private update, right? And they do this with a bunch of their other games. And I think it's really strange and insidious because they wait for all the sort of like watchdog eyes to go off of it, right? Like reviewers won't mention it in their reviews, right? It won't reflect on your Metacritic.
Let the goodwill come in for launch sales.
Yes. And then
good word of mouth.
Here they are, right? But not only that, but the unlocking in Crash Team Racing up to this point has sucked, right?
It's just bad. Like, it is just bad. As someone who owns the game, I can tell you firsthand, like, it sucks, Yeah.
Because...
sorry, go on.
I was going to say, everything in the game, in the base game of Crash Team Racing that you could get in the original, you just unlock through the story mode as normally, right?
Yeah.
But all that new stuff, you almost all get primarily through the store. Now, it's all cosmetics, right? Which is worth mentioning, right? You're not missing out on tracks or anything. But, when I was like, oh, I want to play a Zim and Zam or whatever, right? I have to have that specific thing, but it takes 1,000 coins to unlock a character, right? You get 40 per race. Do the math. That's a lot of racing, right? And that's for one character. And if you want to unlock all of them, there's like 15 on there, right?
And then that's not to mention the skins, and then the decals, and the tires, and then it's just like
yes,
there's so much. They all use one currency, and I think this is my problem because even before they had microtransactions, I had a problem with this, right? Because like I hear the base game, the original game that they're remaking, it's all there the way it was, and I get that, right? But like the way they advertise is, oh, we added all this new stuff, blah blah blah, right? And then just to make it such a goddamn chore, like it's not a fun unlock system, right? No. And I think this is my core problem with a lot of modern games, with their in the advent of microtransactions and games as a service and all this, right? Mm-hmm. Is like this idea of like there's no when was the last time you played a AAA game with microtransactions where like it was like, oh, you do X and get Y, right? No, it's all like Mortal Kombat is guilty of this too, of this idea of everything you do, you get a currency, and then you use that currency to buy stuff from a shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's no satisfaction in that to me. It incentivizes grinding, incentivizes you to be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna put a little money into this.
I mean,
right?
especially when there's the timer, right? So like, if I don't have enough Wumpa coins for this character that I want, I either have 12 hours to try to grind this, or I drop $10.
Or wait till the next fucking time that it maybe randomly enters the shop, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, I get it that like, okay, I think, in my opinion, games that have free content that get added as DLC justify microtransactions, right?
Sure.
Because you have to monetize the game in some way to justify extra development, right?
Yeah.
That's fair.
They're
and I get
spending
that.
money, and they need to make money back somehow, right?
Yeah, but
Right.
I feel like that stuff should not apply to the base game, you know? The fact that I can spend money to get stuff that was in the game on the cartridge from day one, you know?
Cartridge. Switch.
Well, you know, Nintendo Switch. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It just feels scummy to me. It not just scummy, but also just like it's not rewarding. I don't think it's a rewarding.
Yeah, I never feel like I
unlock mechanism.
You know?
Yeah, there's no sense of accomplishment. There's no sense of like, and it sucks to see this so pervasive in games today. You know?
Yeah, and I think there's a difference. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I was agreeing.
Yeah, because like Fortnite, right, is free. And like, and there's, and I think there's a difference between, but the thing was like before this, Crash Team Racing was like, oh man, you know, like it's $40, it's a reduced price, that's cool, right? But now it's like, oh, it's $40, and there's this thing too, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because with Fortnite, it's fine. Because I mean, the stuff they do definitely justifies it, right? And I think because like everyone tries to take from Fortnite, but doesn't realize Fortnite actually does it in a very like open, like and fair way, and you feel like, okay, I'm getting my money's worth here if I do invest. And it is, because at the end of the day, it is all just cosmetics, right? But like, they're cool cosmetics, first of all. Kudos to Epic for that.
And
right?
and you mentioned that it's free, so I mean, that just, you know,
that
makes it way more justifiable.
And it's all stuff that they added later, right? When the game launched, there was nothing. And then they had to add stuff later and whatever, right?
Yeah.
And like, if the microtransactions in Crash Team Racing or Mortal Kombat were only in stuff that came after when they patched it in, I would be fine with that. I really would. Like, that would be absolutely fine, you know? It's just the fact that, you know, it ruins the design of the game from the beginning, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's because it's not fun. I don't find this fun. Grinding in games is, I mean, like unless it's like an RPG or whatever, but grinding for like
it's not fun in RPGs either.
Well, sure, but like some people find it fun, whatever. Yeah. But I mean, grinding to get like as your only form of progression, I should say, right? Is not fun. It is just not fun.
It's not. I mean, I keep thinking like Overwatch is kind of similar, but also it does it a lot better than, because Overwatch is just cosmetics. Yeah. But you also level up, and every time you level up, you get a free loot box.
And I think it's fair to say, like you said with Overwatch, it's like, you know, there are ways to mitigate it to feel like the grind is not too bad, right? To feel like there's a balance that you can find where it still feels fair, right?
Right.
But Mortal Kombat and Crash Team Racing do not have that balance in the slightest. It is definitely skewed towards, this is going to take me either the rest of time and I'm only allowed to play this game, or I have to dump money into this, or I'm just not going to play anymore. And I, you know, with me, I adore Crash Team Racing. I really do. This is one of my favorite childhood games. I was so excited for this remake. I'm not going to play this game anymore because I'm just like, I don't care if I'm getting free content, because it's just, it feels like a chore. It really does, you know? And it's to the point where every game is feeling like a chore. That sucks. I don't want to play games like that anymore. You know, like I don't have the time for it. I don't find it fun. Like, I just, no. Sorry. Yeah. There's a billion other games for me to play, you know?
True that. I feel you.
Because, and like, sort of my last thing on it, right? It's just that, like, especially with the Crash remakes and the Spyro remakes being super cool, super great, really loving, and like 3 games in one, right? Like, they've done a great job with this, right? And And suddenly, with this, it like changes the whole perspective on the remake, where it goes from like, oh, they just wanted this to be a celebration of the series, to, oh, they wanted to find the best way to get the microtransactions in there. Right?
Yeah,
they can't
so
microtransaction the original game because people will get real mad, but we can do the later games that people won't care as much. And you're like,
I will
that
say,
stinks.
I hope this does not invade the regular Crash Spyro games, because, okay, Crash Team Racing is an online-focused racing game.
Sure.
So I'll even give them a pass for that, even though, like I said, the balance of that is not right, and they definitely need to get that balance right next time, you know? The regular Crash and Spyro platforming games, they better not even touch anything like this, you know?
God, that would be just truly awful.
So I think what you guys are saying is that you hate capitalism.
Sure.
I mean, maybe.
Nail it.
Yeah. And the thing with Crash Team Racing, what was like one last thing? I would have really just preferred to pay $60 than this shit. You know, I really would have. Like, I feel like the game would have sold great at $60 anyway. You know,
Yeah.
I would have rather paid $60 for that game than to have that. And then with Mortal Kombat, that game's already fucking $60, so I don't know what to say about Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. and like
It's just
Mortal
greed
Kombat
at this
got
point, though.
hit in its reviews though, right? This game
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
And like
This
that,
game didn't.
and that's a difference factor.
At this point, though, like sure, like they didn't do it. They did it from launch, so it's less scummy. But like, it's just pure greed at this point. You know, it's because there is justification in my mind to microtransactions, but these are not. This is not justified.
Yeah, the justification in like free games and stuff, or like you mentioned, games that give out free content updates nonstop, and like.
And to be fair to Crash, they are doing that, right?
Yeah,
they're adding new tracks and stuff.
Yeah, but again, it affected the stuff before that stuff.
Yes, that's the problem.
That's the problem.
Right. They had to build the game around being shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is it. One final piece of news. Just very briefly, follow up. A couple of weeks ago, we mentioned the very fun thing of trade wars about potential tariffs on electronics coming into the United States from China, which would affect prices of next-gen consoles, and Nintendo and Microsoft and Sony all made their statements. We at that point, it was 25% was the number that's getting thrown around. It's now 10%, but it was enacted as of now, so we will now see...
September 1st.
Yeah, as of September 1st. And so... we will see if, I mean, the companies all said, like, this will reflect in consumer pricing, right? It will be passed down. We'll see if they mean that or not, you know, when we get up getting prices for Scarlet.
Like, I'm sure,
PS5,
like, part of it is they'll shift production to, like, Southeast Asia or whatever. But like, that's still, like, it's still gonna be more expensive. And I'm curious because, like, just sorry, we're going longer than you wanted on this. But
No,
just,
it's fine.
PS5 and Xbox Scarlet are looking like they're gonna target $500, you know, before the tariffs. And so you wonder, I mean, I don't think you can price a console above $499, you know? Like, you just can't. So, like, what...
I mean,
what
historically are the ones that have done that and have succeeded at that price?
$599.
Yeah, I mean, that's where everyone's brain goes to, right? Like, I don't know if the market will...
No, yeah, like, I mean, because $499 is already kind of pushing it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think they'll do fine at $499, but it's already pushing it. And it's just
Didn't consoles launch at $499 this...
Xbox did. PS4 was $400.
PS4 was $399, and PS4 was far more successful.
True.
You know, I don't know.
So yeah, so we'll see how that goes, but they didn't back down, or they kind of backed down, but whatever. Anyways, that is stuff for the future. That will be next year. Now we got other things to do right now on the list.
The list.
Follow along in the paste bin below. As every week, we rank video games, not arbitrarily, but oddly. This is not a top 100. Right now, it's not even a top 127 or whatever the current number is.
22.
122. It is the games we add and where we want to put them, and there's sometimes very little rhyme or reason to what games are on the list. But Moose, you are adding one of those games. What is it?
I'm adding. I didn't know what to add because I was just like, man, like I don't want to. I don't trust you guys on this game. Or
Wow.
The fuck does that mean?
No trust.
But
who do you trust more than us?
I mean,
True.
but there's varying levels of trust within the group.
He's waiting for Saf so he can sneak something by.
I want to know.
But however, so I decided to play it maybe a little safe, but like I still can get hurt here, so we'll see.
Let's hurt him.
That is Animal Crossing New Leaf. This is a game on the... Huh?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Oh,
This-
wow.
Brandon, I don't know.
He's feeling a way about it. I don't know which way, but he's feeling it.
Hose man.
Animal Crossing New Leaf, okay, is a game that directly came after City Folk on the Wii, which was a very disappointing entry, right? That was an entry that, like, you were like, this is just fucking Wild World. And I think a lot of people at that point thought, like, okay, Animal Crossing is just like this kind of like new Super Mario Brothers-esque franchise. Can you really do anything new with it? You know? I think a lot of people were genuinely asking themselves that after City Folk.
Sure.
New Leaf came out, uprooted all of that, and was like, boom, bitch, we know how to innovate in this franchise, alright? Like, this is like, we are rethinking Animal Crossing, you know, and instead of just moving into this town that, you know,
you live
and
in.
you just kind of live on it, you are the mayor. You move into that town still, but you have been appointed mayor immediately. And what this means is, like, it just gives you so much more direct control on what you're going to do on this island and how things are going to play out and, like, the facilities you can add. And it just gives you so much, it adds so much to the franchise, you know? In a way that's really meaningful. Like, you enjoy doing this thing that gives you something to work towards, while still striking that precious Animal Crossing balance of, okay, there's no bars and there's no, like, XP and there's nothing like that, right? Like, you're working towards something, but it's not a defined something, you know? You're just kind of doing, and
You want to make your town better, but what your version of that town is can change, right?
And that definition varies from person to person, right? And I think that's the brilliance of Animal Crossing. It's just like, you can truly, I mean, you do what you want, you know? If you want to live in that little tiny tent for the rest of the game, you can, you know?
Or 100 million bells and live in a tent.
Just live in a tent and just, you know, I just want this whole island to be full of flowers. You can do that, you know, sure. You know? And I think this was my personal first Animal Crossing game, right? It really made me appreciate the franchise because it's like, nothing really strikes that feel the way Animal Crossing does, you know, of just like, it's even hard to describe on paper because, like, when you describe Animal Crossing to someone, it sounds mundane, right? It sounds dumb, you know?
Yep.
But
Fucking yep.
and I was someone who, like, felt like Ills was like, yeah, this game just sounds stupid, you know? Which is why I never played it up until New Leaf. But really playing the game, something clicks. Honestly, immediately, just something clicks. Every action you do is just so satisfying, and you know, it's just a pleasant experience. The villagers, they make you feel good, you know.
They make you feel good.
They make you, because you're just a pleasant time with your
Fuck.
Everything about that game makes you feel good.
It's just that this game. If I want to brighten up my mood, this is the game I go to, you know. Yeah. And Animal Crossing with New Leaf, I think New Leaf is up there as one of the best games
You know
Nintendo
what?
has made.
This game deserves to be put at the bottom of the list because it introduced politics into gaming. Fucking being a mayor. What the fuck, guys?
This
is
You will
bullshit.
have to answer for your record in the next
Exactly.
Crossing.
I will start with, I think New Leaf is at least the top 3 3DS game, you know, if not higher, right?
Top 3?
I agree. I mean,
Wait, what's the top 3?
I don't know. I'm not gonna make that list right now, but
Oh no, he's scared.
But I will say, like, I mean, Animal Crossing deserves some respect. Okay, no, it is not the big boy games like Zelda and Mario and Metroid, you know. But
What's a big boy game?
sure.
Now you see those numbers.
But like you see those
Metroid
sales
dreams
numbers.
of it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, for real.
I just mean, like,
Metroid,
it's
step
not the
back.
traditional action adventure, you know, like it's not like that, right? But
Alright, let's just put it at number 1 already. I'm tired of this.
Animal Crossing is up there. I really do think Animal Crossing is up there as one of the best.
Animal Crossing New Leaf.
Wait.
Best Animal Crossing game.
By
no
a
doubt,
wide
dude.
margin.
By a wide margin.
Yeah.
I figured out what Muzzy's top 3 3DS games are.
Oh,
It's Fire Emblem Awakening, a Kid Icarus in this game. I know it.
yeah.
That sounds about right. I will say, Animal Crossing. I think we talked about it a bit when we added the first Animal Crossing to the list, right?
Mhm.
But I have like I have a real affinity for the series. Mm-hmm. I started playing it with the GameCube one when it first came out. Mm-hmm. It really, honestly, it brought me and my sister, like, it made us, become closer friends. Sure. The game did. It really did. We've always been good friends, but just, we have a lot of, like, really good memories with Animal Crossing. Mm-hmm. The series is just, it is so fucking fun to play. It's so fun to share with people, to play it together and to talk about. And this game really just, like, New Leaf pushed everything to 100. It made everything that you, like, all the wish lists that I had, almost all of them, which hopefully the next game will give me all of them. Yeah. But it gives you so much freedom to just have fun and just have a chill. It's the most chill, relaxing game you could possibly play. I'm telling you.
I want to give a shout out.
Yeah,
because I think it's really important to Animal Crossing New Leaf is Isabelle, right? Not just that she's adorable and she's great, but, like, the one thing that I think Animal Crossing, like, you had Tom Nook, you had a bunch of, like, characters that were shared, right? Like, you always probably saw Rossetti, you probably already saw these characters. But having this one character that's just, like, on your side and is always going to be there, I think really grounds you in the town in a certain way, right? And that sounds dumb, but I think it's fun that, like, people really like this dog. She's become the mascot for the series in a way that even Tom Nook never was.
I mean, to a point where it's like, it's hard for me to picture Animal Crossing before Isabelle, Sure. Like, just without Isabelle, like, because I feel like New Leaf really made her just this central part, without, like, being overbearing, right? Because you could do that wrong, right?
Yeah, Navi.
But like,
Scrappy,
they integrated her so well into this game, and deservedly has become, like, one of the most beloved Nintendo characters. I think that says something.
Fucking get her out of Smash. I'm tired of it.
Wow.
But so where do you want it, Moose?
Where do I want it on the list? This is hard.
Also, for the record, before Muzzy says that, I just want to say why I got a little bit mad at the beginning was Muzzy trying to pad his numbers with he already has the best.
Of course, I mean that's what he does.
I like to pad my stats. I'm not gonna lie. I'm much like Russell Westbrook. I'm gonna try to get a triple double every game.
Fucking Peyton Manning over here would be benched, but he's trying to fucking pad the stats.
I want to put this
references.
Game. This is hard. Like.
Yep.
Okay, I'm just gonna shoot for the moon. I don't care. I want it above Metal Gear Solid.
Whatever, man. I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah. There's 3 fans, and then there's Ills.
I mean, I know I'm not gonna get it that high, but that's, like I said, I'm shooting for the moon.
I mean, I think it's gonna be close, at least for me. I don't know. I definitely want it above Undertale.
Oh.
Yeah. I think I'd be willing to put it above Mario Kart and Splatoon, to be honest.
I'd be willing to put it above Last of Us, but
what?
Oh, I mean, I want to put it above Last of Us. I just don't want to be a hater.
I don't know if I want to put it above Last of Us.
I'm not a hater.
You love that game.
Yeah.
Brandon, above Last of Us?
Yeah, dog.
Yeah, dog.
Listen, man, Animal Crossing. If you haven't played Animal Crossing, it's fucking incredible. Maybe it's not for everybody. Maybe it's not, right? But not every game is for everybody.
I have one thing that will keep it below it for me.
Okay.
The island bug system. I spent a lot of time on that island catching bugs to get the bells, and I wish there was a slightly more fun way to get bells in that video game. Because you get so many from that, and then everything else feels paltry in comparison. And I don't know what they were doing when they were balancing that.
You know what I have to say about all this?
Mm-hmm.
The list has gone to shit since Noah's left.
Oh my god.
He's gonna hear that and he's gonna pat himself on the back.
He's gonna be like, yeah.
I'm joking. I don't mean it.
Yeah. So hear that? No, he doesn't. Okay. Look. I will settle for Below Last of Us though, because I know Ills thinks very high of that game. I know that, like, I mean, all of you think very highly of that game, obviously, because it's very high.
Yeah.
And besides, plus I can get New Horizons above there in 2 years. So.
Who knows? Maybe.
In 1 year.
March 2021.
Well, about a year and a half.
I got March 21. Yeah, look forward to it.
Yeah.
New Horizons.
But until then, I think I would like it at number 12.
Okay, I'll settle for that.
All right, I'll settle for it.
I mean, that's still very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly where you wanted it, Moose. You shot for the moon and you made it among the stars.
Yeah.
So there it is. Number 12 on the list, Animal Crossing New Leaf. Surrounding it, number 10, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Number 11, The Last of Us Remastered. Number 12, as I said, Animal Crossing New Leaf. Number 13 now, Unlucky Metal Gear Solid. Number 14, Splatoon 2. That is the list.
Good company.
As is tradition, whoever was done dirty on the list will get the final praise, and I think it's very clear who got done dirty this week. So Ills, have at it. But before you do that, let me briefly plug that we have not only this podcast every Monday, but every other Thursday. On average, we have the Jump Up Supercast Game Club. This last Thursday, we uploaded the We Love Katamari Game Club, which is a game that I have a lot of passion about, so I would recommend to listen because it's fun. Then, like I said, every Monday this podcast happens. Special feature coming up. Look forward. We played Marvel Ultimate Alliance. We're going to have a game club about that, so keep an eye out for that. And then you can make sure that you won't miss any of this stuff by following us on twitter.com/jumpupsupercast, on soundcloud.com/jumpupsupercast, and in your podcast service of choice. As well, we are on Facebook and Instagram, where we will post just inane memes sometimes, either from Brandon or Saf mostly, and also subscribe to us on YouTube, where you can also get the podcasts. Those are uploaded on there as well. But that
also,
is...
Will, I don't want you to forget something.
Oh.
Coming up pretty soon here.
Oh.
Is the biggest event of the summer.
Yeah. Give me the green light. Ranker Slam, the biggest party of the summer, will be... We're at 123 right now, so it'll be... Oh my god. Will it be... No matter what, it will be done by next week, I think, right?
It would be done after the next main episode of the Jump Up Supercast.
Yeah.
Right?
We've had a lot of discussions.
Wait, do you have a game club coming up this week or no?
This weekend will be Marvel Ultimate Alliance, possibly.
Okay, yeah. So maybe, okay, yeah. So,
but TBD, even if not, we will have guys. So either way, within the next 2 weeks, we will hit that number. We're now doing it. We're changing the way that it works, I think, right?
Again,
schedule
before
TBD,
we even...
But, like, we're saying every 25, but we're thinking about doing it around, like, major WWE events. TBD. We haven't decided, but the next one should be in the next weekend or next weekend after that, around that area.
Yes, it's gonna be a fucking Rankomania, like after every ranking.
Which, by the way, is when we re-rank, when we all get to re-rank a game on the list.
Yes.
We should mention what the hell does Ranker Slam mean?
Yes, we will get to re-rank one game on the list, each of us. Sometimes you'll get what you want, sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll need to, you'll just have to look in the mirror and say, I blew it. But until then, I don't know where I was going with that one. But all that stuff will be found out on Ranker Slam, which to BD to when the day when it will come out. But until then, Ills, your final phrase.
I never know what to say with these things. Please be excited.
Hey.